Chocolate chip cookies are those typical American cookies with bits of chocolate in them. They're a real treat for everyone, both young and old, and there's always a good reason to put them on the table. They've been around since 1930 and they're still everyone's favourite. There are many different sorts of cookies. I've got 3 ready for you. The traditional cookies with pieces of dark chocolate, and the more healthy ones filled with blueberries. Or, if you want to go totally wild, airy white chocolate cream-filled cookies topped with lemon frosting. More than 80 years ago, the chocolate chip cookies were invented by some lady called Madame Wakefield. Not that important to us right now, because all we want to do is to get started on those delicious American cookies. The foundation is fairly simple. I start with the Stork, which is ideal for baking already at room temperature. And because not everybody can remember to take it out of the fridge a day ahead, 10 to 20 seconds in the microwave can also make sure the Stork is nice and soft to work with. I need 200 grams, 125 grams of vanilla sugar. As you can see, there's still some vanilla pods in there. Now you could, of course, also use normal sugar and maybe add some of the vanilla to the recipe yourself afterwards. After the sugar, we can add the flour. I use 250 grams. And I also add some baking powder, about a spoonful. And then the one thing that turns this recipe into a real cookie recipe, and that is oat flakes. 75 grams or a spoonful of oat flakes. We might know them from our cereal breakfast or from the cookies themselves. And in this case, to use oat flakes yourself, they prove to be a convenient ingredient as well. We're almost done. Just add 1 egg. And then we can start mixing. A kitchen robot or a mixer is of course an option, but I'd rather stick to my principle that baking cookies is manual labour. So I'm going to wash my hands and get started with these 2. There you go. Now that's what I call baking. And gradually you can see the Stork mixing with the sugar, the flour and the oats until it becomes cookie dough. I can already hear you think, cookie dough without chocolate? That's not chocolate chip cookies, is it? Well, you're absolutely right, of course. We can add our final ingredient. What I have here are the real so-called chocolate chips. Small pieces of chocolate with good heat resistance, making sure you can really see every separate bit of chocolate. Another option, obviously, is to chop up a normal bar of chocolate and add that to your dough. About 100 grams, but feel free to choose your own amount of chocolate in the cookies. And no need for restraint here. Look, the basic dough for our chocolate chip cookies is complete. But with this dough, we could now easily bake the traditional chocolate chip cookies. But you guys chose to make the blueberry version. And these blueberries do not only bring great colour to the cookies, they do a lot more. By exuding their juice while in the oven, the berries give the cookies a totally different texture. Instead of a crispy chocolate cookie, we get a sort of a muesli cookie. Look how the berries mix in beautifully with the dough, and see how a few of them already snap, which is a good thing. Good, because I don't want a crispy chocolate cookie. No, I really want, and we're making them intentionally bigger, a big, nutritious, nice and sweet muesli cookie. Now, the only thing left to do is to put the cookies in the oven, which is preheating at 180 degrees Celsius. We're using a large baking tray because our cookies will be big. It's not really necessary to use baking paper, but we'll play it safe. And now a bit of Stork in each corner of the baking tray to make sure the baking paper isn't going anywhere. And a large sheet of baking paper. And unlike other cookies, we don't need to cut or squirt the dough onto the tray. No, we can easily put it onto our baking paper. And you can use 2 spoons to put a big blob of dough in its place. And you can see that I'm using quite a lot of dough per cookie. But don't worry, they will nicely settle into big round cookies. And if you want to be a little bit more efficient, you could go for the ice cream scoop. Now that way, you'll be sure all the blobs roughly have the same dimensions. Now size doesn't really matter as long as every portion of dough is about the same. That, of course, is to make sure they all need the same time in the oven. There we go, our chocolate chip cookies with blueberries are ready for the oven. They're quite big, so I would say about 12 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. Our cookies are now golden brown and nicely crisp on the edges, but the combination of oat flakes and blueberries give them a tender and smooth inside. I'd say this is ideal for everybody to enjoy at afternoon tea.